Hey guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, let me know what you think. Now let's get into today's video. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Crossing the Line, and we're going to get into today's top story straight away here. Canada to re-educate Jordan Peterson for wrongthink. Now, I know what you're saying, I know what you're thinking. Trudeau wouldn't do that, would he? Canada wouldn't do that. Canada's a free country, just like Australia, just like America, just like a lot of the free world that we hold so highly in regards. But no, they are trying to take away Jordan Peterson's practitioner's license as a psychiatrist because he thinks the wrong things and because he mainly tweets the wrong things and hangs out with the wrong kind of people. Now, if you don't know who Jordan Peterson is, I'm not going to get into that today. I don't know where the fuck you've been living, under a rock. Maybe in Canada, where they censor information, or North Korea. They're pretty much the same place at the moment. Now, at least in Canada, there's fat people. In North Korea, I don't think there's many fat people unless they're the dictator themselves. But anyway, Jordan B. Peterson is in hot water again for speaking his mind and even retweeting another Canadian politician. Now, if you have a jab at Justin Blackface Trudeau, apparently that means you'll get your head cut off, politically speaking anyway. He is a venomous person that seems to go after anyone that says anything against him. I mean, we saw that with the Canadian truckers protest and all that. Look at the shit that he did to those people, was astounding and really Stalinistic. Like, if Stalin was here, he would have been giving him a round of applause for what he was doing. Now, maybe it's part of who Justin Trudeau is probably related to, but we'll just leave that as conspiracy theory, shall we? But yeah, Canada is to re-educate him for wrongthink. Now, Jordan Peterson has got a litany of tweets and or posts and or opinions that he's publicly stated that the left and anyone that doesn't like truth or critical thinking is opposed to. So Jordan Peterson's been through hell on earth several times the last couple of years, whether it's been being ostracized by the academic elite in America, Canada, you name it, pretty much all over the world, or it's been attacked for pretty much anything he says. So even Australia, when he came here in November, he was attacked relentlessly by uneducated fucking morons, mainly in Melbourne and inner cities, that basically live off chai lattes and soy, that don't know anything they don't know what fucking gender they are, let alone how to use their brain. So we'll just leave it there at that. But what do you guys think about this? We'll get into this story here from The Spectator. Wokeism has destroyed Canada. We knew the situation was bad when Prime Minister Justin Trudeau froze the bank accounts of protesters in order to silence political action against the regime's appalling abuse of human rights. It became unsalvageable when Trudeau followed up with his behaviour by speaking about his love of China's dictatorial powers over citizens. Long gone are the days of suffering niceness from our northern cousins. Now the professionals who disagree on social media with Canada's ruling elite find themselves ruthlessly threatened by institutions that are meant to stand for liberty of thought. That stuffy and outdated value is scorned by the younger generation, who prefer to confront the approved truth and safe nests feathered with media consensus. While most Western regimes find themselves under attack from a mixture of neo-Marxism, eco-fascism, gender extremism, and whatever TikTok culture involves, it is Canada that leads the way on policing wrongthink. They have readily embraced the insidious idea that the government and its bureaucracies have the right to re-educate those who dissent. In a series of tweets today by Dr. Jordan Peterson reported his situation at the hands of these lunatics. Breaking, the Ontario College of Psychologists, CP Ontario, has demanded that I submit myself to mandatory social media communication retraining with their experts for, among other crimes, retweeting Pierre Poilievre, I'm not too sure how to pronounce his name. He's a great Canadian politician. He always has a fucking good old dig at old Justin Trudeau there. And criticising Justin Trudeau and his political allies, I am to take the course of such training with reports documenting my progress or face an in-person tribunal and suspension for my right to operate as a licensed clinical psychologist. About a dozen people from all over the world submitted complaints about my public statements on Twitter and Joe Rogan over a 4-year period out of the 15 million who follow me on social media, claiming that I had harmed people, not them, with my views. In its wisdom, CP Ontario decided to pursue these complaints, although they could have dismissed them. I have been accused of harming people, although none of the complaints involved in the current action were clients of mine, past or present, or even acquainted with any of my clients. And even though many of them falsely claimed that they were or had been clients of mine and were allowed by CP Ontario to have their complaints investigated despite this falsehood. We're now in a situation in Canada under Justin Trudeau where practicing professionals can have their livelihoods and public reputations threatened in a very serious manner for agreeing with the official opposition and criticising major government figures. If I comply with these terms of my re-education and my punishment will be announced publicly, I have already had the second most serious category of punishment levied against me, and that has been deemed a high risk to re-offend. The Canadians, your physicians, lawyers, psychologists and other professionals are now so intimidated by the commissar overlords they fear to tell you the truth. This means that your care and legal counsel has been rendered dangerously unreliable. Ask Queen's U Law Professor Party Bruce if he concurs on the legal front. To reiterate, I face public disgrace, mandatory political re-education, disciplinary hearing, and potential loss of my clinical licensing for agreeing with Pierre Poilievre and criticising our standing PM, Justin Trudeau. Now, if you're a New Zealander or even a Melburnian and you criticise your government, you're pretty much subject to the same thing. Here in Australia, we've started to suffer under that over the last couple of years of lockdowns and things. If you spoke out against any of the wankers that were pushing this agenda to lock down the country, even though there was a mountain of evidence to say that it wasn't going to work, it wasn't going to help, and you pointed that shit out, you were ostracized and you were attacked viciously by the government, by the police, by social media, and by the mainstream media. Not to mention just your fucking neighbor or friend. This is where Canada, Australia, New Zealand, England, and America are all headed. The Scandinavian countries are probably already there. It's probably a bit too late for them. So, what do you do if you're in Canada? I don't know. You follow it up right to the right to these people that are attacking Jordan Peterson. Condemn them for what they are doing. Condemn Justin Trudeau for what they are doing publicly. I mean, it's the amount of quiet people that agree with everything I'm saying and agree with what you're thinking and all that shit and agree with Jordan Peterson that just don't say anything and don't do anything about it is massive. The amount of people that don't do anything about it because they just think, oh, well, it's not my problem. But you agree with what we're talking about. It is your problem. It's going to be your problem. It's massively your problem already. You just don't realise. Now, if you're watching this kind of content and you listen to Jordan Peterson and you read his book, if you follow anyone like what I'm trying to do here, like with Tim Cast, Joe Rogan or anything like that, I'm sure you guys already know what state of the world we're in and what we're moving towards. But if you have friends and family that just don't get it and just fob it off, I know in Australia is basically she'll be right mate attitude, and that's what's getting us into this Orwellian nightmare that we're headed towards. It's not even headed towards anymore. I think we're honestly there. I mean, if they're silencing an insanely intelligent, well thought out person who's got every degree that you could ever possibly want, like Jordan Peterson, and someone who's as well read and as intelligent as he is, and they're just fobbing him off as a crazy person because he just says things that you don't agree with. Where are we? And they're going, where are we going with this whole fucking shit show? I mean, You read some of the tweets here that they've cited that which are deemed so inappropriate. Here's one here. He's retweeted Ben Shapiro about the masks. Here he is, Pierre Poilievre. Enough. COVID mandates. Drop the damn mask. The idiot rules. Get on with life today. I mean, you can just see, and that was 2022, mind you. It's not 2019, 2020. It's 2022. So the information's been well out there. Who called someone a prick, and this is what they're trying to take his license and shit away from him for, and stop the puppet. This Justin Trudeau. This is what it is. This is what the issue is. If you attack anyone like Justin Trudeau or Jacinda Ardern or fucking Dan Andrews, even Biden to an extent, you're viciously attacked. If you say anything against these kind of people from the World Economic Forum or even Greta Thunberg, look what happened to Andrew Tate as soon as he attacked Greta Thunberg or even had a snide comment at her. He was arrested. I mean, what are the reasons, fucking human trafficking, whatever the fuck ends up happening with that, we will see. But it just shows anyone who sticks their head above the designated line gets it cut off immediately. It's tall poppy syndrome here in Australia is massive, and England's the same. Canada's probably a lot the same with tall poppy syndrome. But now it's if you put your head above the thing and say what we're all thinking, and everyone says, "Shut the fuck up! What are you doing? Don't draw attention to us. Shh, quiet, shush." The people who agree with you drag you down as well. So that's why it's so easy to get people like Jordan Peterson cancelled and shit these days. I mean, if you're a intelligent, well thought out person, you have an idea or you have a topic you want to approach and you say the wrong thing about it, how they tear you down and destroy you and delete you like you never existed. Not only that, they're in Canada, they're arresting people for saying the wrong thing and offending people. In England, Scotland's terrible for it. If you offend someone, you can be arrested. Where's this coming from? Like, who wants this? No one seems to want this besides a small minority of leftist insane people, and then the people who are in power that just want control. Because the majority of people don't want you to be arrested for offending someone, do they? Do you? I don't know anyone that wants police out there beating people up and pepper spraying them and tying them up and throwing them in the back of a paddy wagon because they said something on Facebook or Twitter. I mean, we have a common issue here that everyone should be riled up about, but is just an astounding silence. And the people who stick their hand up and say something about it, like Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan, even Elon Musk, one of the most richest men in the world, and he gets destroyed and attacked viciously over saying basically truths. You might not like it, but if it's the truth, I'm sorry, but you don't get to pick and choose what's true or not. It's either true or it's not. And there's grey areas everywhere where, some people, like Jordan Peterson, doesn't have every single fucking point thought out or worked out. What are you going to do? Oh, well. Don't go to him for everything. I mean, he can say what he wants to say here in a free world. Apparently, we used to be able to, but not anymore. If these complaints from random people around the world directed at Jordan Peterson can get his license taken off him, or even just the investigation from random people on the internet, what kind of semblance of order are we going to have when if I can go and complain about a random person I've never met, never had any contact with, never seen, I just don't like their opinion online. If I can go and complain about them and have them shut down, blocked, deleted, investigated, or go to a mandatory fucking retraining and rethinking and brainwashing thing, what kind of fucking world are we living in? No one's going to be able to speak out. It's going to be like North Korea, because in North Korea they have a thing where you have to dob on your neighbours and dob on your friends and family and like that I don't know whether it's every day or every week or whatever it is, but you have to tell whoever about something that your neighbour or brother or whatever, or even your fucking son or daughter did that went against the regime. And you don't know who to turn to because everyone's the same. Everyone is terrified to think outside the square. They're terrified to think about anything that the regime doesn't want you to think about. They think in North Korea that they can read their minds, that Kim Jong-il or fucking Ung, whatever it is now, Ung can read your mind and he knows what you're thinking, so you better not think these thoughts. And fucking when getting to that point here in the West, in what's supposed to be democratic or free countries. Australia promotes itself as a massive free country, and we're so free. Look at our beautiful country. Everything's perfect. Why don't you come here? Where the bloody hell are you? Was one of our ad campaigns for it. Come to Australia and see, tourism and see the Great Barrier Reef and all this shit. Where the bloody hell are you? You were probably locked up in fucking prison for saying the wrong thing, because Australia isn't as free as everyone fucking thinks it is. We've lost majority of our rights. We've lost our gun rights to a massive extent. We don't have any freedom of speech. I don't know what you're fucking thinking about. We don't have freedom of speech here in Australia. We don't have a Bill of Rights or anything like that. And at least anything that's taken seriously, like they do in the US. We're not protected from our government. Our government, we are just pawns of our government. If they want to fucking throw you in prison for saying something on Facebook or going to a freedom rally or disagreeing with a politician, they can. If they want to get you shut down on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok or anything, they can. If you post something about Daniel Andrews on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, you are censored massively. You can, on my tiny ass channel, if I say one thing about him like this video here, I can see the difference if it's got Daniel Andrews in the title. The same if you've got promoting something One Nation says, you are massively attacked and just, you might as well not exist. If you say anything of the sorts that they don't want, you might as well have not even fucking said it. And they're able to do this to someone like Jordan Peterson, someone like Elon Musk, someone like Joe Rogan, someone like Tim Pool. So if you're Gad Sad, if you're able to do it to like Brett Weinstein, someone like that, if you can do it to those people, imagine the millions, if hundreds of thousands even, just say hundreds of thousands of people around the world that have said something or thought something or put out some sort of tweet or whatever has been deleted or taken down or blocked or banned or shadow banned. There's millions of people. There's a massive amount of people on the right. I suppose we're on the right compared to the left. Everything's right. Middle ground people that just say a normal, realistic thought that everyone will think, everyone agrees on, basically everyone agrees on, that should not be a inflammatory comment. Something like pedophiles are bad or don't groom children, or, that's where we're getting to, where if you say you don't agree with people who groom children, you get shut down. I thought we'd all agree that grooming children and pedophiles are bad things. But apparently not anymore, because people who control massive media companies like anything here in Australia, Channel 7, Channel ABC, SBS, everything they put out is always one side of the spectrum. You probably get like a few in-betweeners, like comparing Sky News to The Project. Like, The Project is as far left as you can pretty much go, and they might have a conservative voice on there every now and then, but then they chop and change it to make that person sound stupid. They did it with pretty much Avi Yemeni. I think even Isaac Butterfield went on there, and that might have been the New Zealand one, but the same thing. They chop and change what you say to make you sound stupid, make it look like they won the argument, even though they didn't. And you can compare that something to like Sky News, where they probably kind of do the same fucking thing, but I think Sky News is probably a lot more honest. But even then, they have their leftist fucking agenda on shit on there as well. They're not right wing compared to like fucking just about anything. Everyone has the right to have their opinion, but when you go and censor other people's opinions, like they're doing here with Jordan B. Peterson, it gets fucking slippery slope real quick. I mean, if you go and say something like you agree with Jordan B. Peterson, when are you going to get a knock on the door from the police here in Australia? When are you going to get a knock on the door in Canada if you retweet him? It's happening already. People in the middle who just kind of don't think that they're involved and hear about it, but they don't really get involved as well as they should, or at least, do something something they can do is vote. The way they should vote, or don't donkey vote like they do in Australia. If I'll just fucking vote for the marijuana party. No one gives a fuck. Vote for someone, even if you're voting for the other party, if you're voting for fucking Greens, at least go out and fucking do it and put some gumption into it, and at least look at your candidates and look at the people that you're voting for and figure out what you agree with and vote for that. And then if you're going to say something online, if you're going to go and have an opinion, maybe when someone says, hey, wait a minute, you haven't got the whole story, how about you look at this, this, and this, and this, say on the COVID narrative or something like that. How about you actually take 5 minutes of your time to have a look at it and use those fucking critical thinking skills that so many people don't have anymore or just don't use, and use those skills and do some research on something. And even if you don't do that, if you're not going to do that, don't stand by your conviction so much that you're willing to let people like Jordan Peterson go to behavioural fucking therapy, basically, and a brainwashing clinic because he's saying the wrong things. You just go, oh, well, he must have said something bad. Oh, he must have done something wrong. It's like, no. Since when do we just let people go to a brainwashing clinic and have their fucking mind altered to agree with the consensus or the supposed consensus, the politically correct consensus? How is that a good thing? And people in the middle are the fucking major issue here. They're a bigger issue than the left, because people in the middle just stood up and said, look, we've had enough of the shit from the left and the right. Everyone needs to calm the fuck down. We're not letting pedophiles into schools. We're not letting people groom kids, and we're not letting kids cut off their genitals at the age of 12 and 14. And we want freedom of speech, and we want people to be able to say those things, and we don't want the government interfering with what we have to say online or even offline. If the middle ground people stood up and did something about that, we wouldn't have this issue. Massive issues in the world right now would be resolved. We wouldn't have this issue with fucking Ukraine and Russia, probably. We wouldn't have this issue with the massive riots and shit all over the world. I mean, if fucking look anywhere on the news and it's just a gunfight constantly all over the world. It's either a gunfight or they're burning shit. Mass amounts of fucking people walking into stores and just robbing the fuck out of the place in the US. England, you can't even turn on a heater unless you've got a fucking $1 million bank account. You can't say anything in Canada against the dictator there, otherwise you get arrested and your bank seized, your bank account fucking seized and shut down, and you have to go to a fucking brainwashing clinic. Middle ground people need to stand the fuck up. And if you're watching this and you think, oh, I'm obviously not a middle ground person if you're watching this, well, yes. You need to, I don't know, find a way to get to people and tell them, look, we need your help, because if we leave it too long, if we leave it any longer, people like Jordan Peterson, people like anyone that basically says anything that's, goes against the left, they'll be locked up, literally locked in prison. They're trying to fucking throw anyone who goes against the grain in prison. And it's getting to the point where the mass amount of people are just agreeing with it. The middle ground people just go, oh yeah, well, they must have just done something. Then if you're actively ignorant on topics like this, either shut the fuck up, don't vote at all. You should have your vote. You should not be allowed to vote unless you know who you're voting for, why you're voting, and you can state why. Fucking do an IQ test. I don't care. You need to be involved. If they're in the middle, they need to be involved. They can't just sit on the sidelines anymore, because they're attacking our freedom of speech, our freedom of thought. If you can't think things, where are we as a society? We're doomed. We'll see what happens with Jordan Peterson here. I don't think he's going to go ahead with these with this retraining. I don't know about you, but it'd be interesting if he went to it and then recorded every session and basically just laid it all out in the open for everyone to see. This is what they want you to say. This is what they want you to think. I would really get behind him doing that. And then, not to mention, they want him to pay for these fucking meetings as well. But I'd get behind that. I'll chip in fucking so he can go and do that, and then just lay it all out in the line so everyone can see. Kind of like Libs of TikTok does. Air it out, because sunlight is the best disinfectant. Air it all out, put it in the sun so everyone can see it. Because every time they do that with something, whether it's got to do with the Twitter files, or it's got to do with things like Libs of TikTok are putting out there, or, fucking anything that is dark, disgusting, and evil, as soon as it's put into the light, everyone sees it for what it is. All the little bullshit lies they say about it disappear as soon as it's all aired out and it's in the light. So that would be interesting to watch. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.